So, I'm here to today show you what's beyond RAG. Before we start, I would like to quickly introduce myself. It's Abhishek from SourcingXPress. I'm leading the technical team at SourcingXpress to help clear the clutter in hiring, uh, which is a big issue nowadays. Whenever it comes to hiring any candidates for a role at your company, at that time it's really difficult to cut through the noise of applicants that you get. You might get around sometimes 1,000 applicants, 2,000 applicants, 3,000 applicants, and you have no way to clear the clutter who is the right ideal candidate for your job. So at SourcingXpress, we solve this problem with very clear-cut solutions that exists in the market, and one of them is Neo4j, through which we do that. And today I'm going to show you that how we are leveraging LLM with solutions like MCP to solve that, make things magical, and look at some super workflows that you can use with databases like Neo4j to supercharge your workflows when working with the database or learning it. So we'll start. Before we go in, could you raise your hand if you know about Neo4j? If you're familiar with Neo4j? Okay, couple of people there. And do you know about? Have you heard about MCP? Okay, who all? Okay. It's not Microsoft Copilot protocol, Model Context Protocol, right? Model Context Protocol. Perfect. I guess I'm going to have an easier day today. So we are going to see exactly what is Model Context Protocol, and we are going to see how it's going to change the way we query our database, use it for managing our workflows, be it you want to manage your data, you want to find hidden insights in your data, or could be learning about a new database from scratch. Model context protocols are here to change the way we look at data. So to start with, let's look at a quadrant regarding how we work with, where these solutions stacks right now. You have context handling, then you have integration. So when it comes to your LLM at solving problems, it sits right in the center at the current moment. It only has limited information on which it was trained, and it can just do some autocomplete, or it can spit some tokens at the end of the day. But more than that, your LLM simply cannot do much. Then we went with solutions like RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, to add more context, help your LLM find data out of your set of information or something you have sitting in your warehouse, to retrieve that, to use it while answering the question. So we had a good time with RAG right now. There are like lot of solutions in the market, be it Azure OpenAI Search. Then you have LangChain integrations to assist with your RAG. Caching is there. But still, at the end of the day, RAG cannot do much for you at the end of the day. At the end of the day, when you still have to do additional tasks to solve, to resolve a user's query, it still needs to integrate well with other solutions, and you do a lot of hack around it to make that happen. So ChatGPT, if you remember, in the web console, when you go to the ChatGPT web console to solve many of the issues, what they do is they do function calling to solve a lot of problems, be it around calculation, processing your files, data like CSV, and those function calls happen in the backend. There's like proprietary solutions that they use to get you the right answer right. But if you implement those solutions on your own, the difference in output is very vast. There's a lot of drift between the output that ChatGPT web console gives you and when you integrate it in your backend. So again, that's like closed AI solution. But our friends at Claude have come up with something very novel, which is called Model Context Protocol, and it is here to help your LLM which is sitting in the center, grow some limbs, grow some hands, and work, go out and work more for you. So we are gonna see it in action right now, how it's working for us at Sourcing Express to help us solve the problem of sourcing candidates from the uh, big pile of open source data and data which is sitting right in our platform, our users. We have grown to up to 15,000 users right now. You can Google our name, Sourcing Express, on the web, and you can get onboarded yourself as a recruiter and as a job seeker. Uh, so we have this like still running in prototype right now. It's been around 8 weeks since we have launched. You can hunt for jobs on the platform, or you can post a free job, and it will help you start sourcing candidate for a particular role like DevOps engineer. So this is what our tool does, and I'm going to show you how we traditionally work on our platform, like whatever I've coded for my co-founder to help with the sourcing, or to help our customers or the recruiters to help with sourcing. I'm going to pull up my admin console, and we are going to look at one of the live jobs. So there's a job post for the role of DevOps engineer, which we saw in the previous page. I'll just open it up once again. Here we are looking for a DevOps engineer with a experience of 3 to 5 years. Then you have the salary range in that. The skills are mentioned. Everything is like in a very nice structured way. Then you have the usual JD, which you see to mention additional data which we do not usually fill in the form. Now, whenever a candidate comes and onboards on Sourcing Express, we see all the applicants in a nice Excel sheet view, and here we have a very simple view to filter out the candidates according to your requirements. Could be location, could be CTC, could be institute, could be anything uh, which is available right inside the platform. So I can narrow down my search of 339 candidates, or let me pull up a job which had a lot of applicants previously. So here we have a SD1 role at Zoin for a fintech startup. And there's a lot of candidates, as you can see, of 935, out of which only 3 were shortlisted. So I'll just quickly show you within a minute how we do it the usual way, the manual way of sourcing the candidates, which is kind of even though it's a really simple way, it's still like you have to do it manually. There's like not much context involved except you're doing it manually. So let me change it to 90%, who are a 90% match. You can see the list of users drop down, or the applicants drop down to 126. I can further go ahead and narrow it down based on what I'm looking at from the available pool of candidates who applied to the job. And this data directly comes from the job seekers. It's not derived from the resume or anything. The job seekers themselves come and give their data with their own consent, whatever they are aware of, or whatever they're thinking that they have currently. uh, could be the current CTC, could be the expected CTC, their offers in hand, their offer CTC, and their preference like work type, what type of work environment they're looking at. Do they want to relocate? What is their notice period? So based on these filters, one can easily narrow down to the list of candidates they want to shortlist for an interview. So once they're happy with the shortlist, they can come and update the status of the candidate to be shortlisted or rejected. If rejected, they can provide a note why they're getting rejected. And if I like a candidate, I don't have to do any upfront commitment on the platform to look at the results. Our platform is currently free. There's no upfront cost uh, on using the platform. You can come here, post a job for free, and applicants will be applying. If you shortlisted 10 or 5 candidates on the platform, you can click on the specific candidate who is aligning with your requirements, and you'll be able to see the data, contact details, and download the resume. We are gonna come back to this just after this thing. That's a really good question. So there's a manual way of shortlisting the candidates on the platform. Uh, you unlock the candidate, then you can look at the resume. But now we want to shortlist, we want to search the candidates in a very natural language with grounded truth. Right now with traditional LLM solutions, there is no grounding in the data. There's like so much hallucination going on. Vector search, retrieval augmentation generation is at most best with the score which you get by matching the strings and other signals that you have. But I will show you the power when the LLM can directly make a query against your database. So that's what MCP is about, and we are gonna pull up our new upcoming product Supernova, and we are inside the Supernova console, and I can ask a couple of questions before even creating a JD on the platform. I can ask questions like who are the top 10 React.js developers in Bangalore, or top 10 backend developers in the Bangalore. Ask complex questions like what is the average salary of a React developer in India. And this data is not coming from the open web, it's not coming from any trained data. This data directly comes from our own database, which is sitting on our server. So are you guys excited to see what it can do? Awesome. So let's start with one of the options we have here for average salary of React.js developer in India. We have that question now, we ask a colleague, boss, what is bhav kya chal raha hai? React.js developer ka bhav kya chal raha hai? So let's see how our MCP is going to help us in getting that answer out by the LLM. So you can see here, it gave us the answer straight from our database. It went ahead, it fetched the schema of the database, current database, and it made query against that to get you the exact data, which is 100% accurate, according to the database. Now, the quality of the data will be as good as the data you have inside the database. It cannot do magic and it won't generate data out of thin air, which you see with other solutions in the market. Let's ask some follow-up questions on the data. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah? Yes, we can do it in tabular format, for sure. So right now you see the output is just in text format, but what if I want a more fancier or a more structured output? So I'll just say, ask a follow-up question that let's show it in tabular format, and you have it. You ask it and it's gonna give it to you. There's no begging your LLM that bhai please kar de. No hacky workarounds in function calling or whatever Frankenstein solutions that you build in-house, and closed AI, which stands for OpenAI. This all open source and it's gonna do whatever you want it to do with your data. Let's ask a follow-up question that let's narrow down our search to search for data which for the candidates who have 4 to 6 years of experience explicitly. It's Neo4j, it's not a columnar database, it's not a row, it's not a columnar database, so it's graph. Neo4j is a graph database, and you should look at on Google about Neo4j and you will be excited what you can do with that. So it narrowed down the search to 4 to 6 years of experience range in the database, exactly, which is given by the user. Grounded data, no hallucination, no generating data out of thin air. All the data is coming from your database in real time. So it gave us that the average salary is of 14 and the sample size is of 743, or the size what it got is 743. Let's ask it another follow-up question. Give me the maximum and minimum in this data. Because we want to know, right, कि maximum ऊपर कितना जा रहा है, नीचे कितना जा रहा है. And you see, so we have average salary of 14 lakhs per annum. Then you have a minimum salary of 0 lakhs. Zero कहाँ से आता है भाई? Who is this developer who is like earning 0 lakh? Then you have maximum of 95, which is like understandable. Bangalore है, Bangalore जैसे जगह है तो definitely कुछ भी जा सकता है. तो okay, it made some correction also in the data. It found out some error or something. Then it also went ahead and excluded the result because it was like not making any sense. It excluded the 0 and and it fixed it for us. So now we see कि 1 lakh per annum किसी का salary है. So as a data engineer, as a data scientist or backend engineer, you want to find out ना कि कहाँ मतलब where is this anomaly? Don't you want to find out कि who is this guy? Do you want to find out who is this guy? Who? किसने डाला ये 1 lakh? वो भी developer. Like एक लाख क्या कर रहे हो boss? आप क्या कर रहे हो? Let's see. Let's hunt who is this guy. So let's ask him a follow-up question. Show me the guy or details of the guy with minimum salary. Here you go. Here are these, our beautiful guys who have an expected salary of 1 year. They're like, at this point, they're like almost ready to join your internship for free. So this is the power of Neo4j with MCP. This is the ground truth. This is the ground reality. There is no drift. There's no deviation from the data. Whatever you're gonna ask, it's gonna give it to you. You wanna see something else? Anyone wants? How does this work? Good question. So, as I said you that previously we had only RAG and you had closed solutions. Everyone was working around function calling, right? You had to make a process to debug it, to test it, troubleshoot it, right? Then you have to scale it also. So there was no specific protocol in the market. OpenAI was doing it long before. It was processing the files on the fly, whatever you uploaded. Whenever it was about mathematics, it smartly write a Python script and execute it in its virtual machine or some instance of function wherever it could. But they were not open sourcing it. So Claude went ahead and created Model Context Protocol, and you can search it on Google. Model Context Protocol. And you will find the first result, Model Context Protocol Introduction. I highly recommend to give this a thorough read. So you can get started with your own MCP adventure. And we are gonna see how it works right now. So MCP starts with the host. To run the MCP, you need a host at first. So first you need is a host. A host is required to take the input of the prompt and to display the output, whatever you're getting from there. So you need a MCP host which has access to MCP servers. Servers or programs that you create with additional capabilities could be around querying your database, your MySQL database, Postgres database. It could be calling a REST API to a weather API. Could be file system, you want to create files. So for all of these specific functions, we have multiple types of MCP servers which you can create and you can find on the market by just typing MCP, popular MCP servers, or particular solution you're looking for. Could be around Google Drive, could be around WhatsApp. There are like 20,000 plus MCP servers that are available in the market right now to automate away all your mundane and boring, painful tasks. So these are the MCP servers which have the code written with the protocol about what a service can do. If you want to LLM to discover a service, could be around querying your data, could be around creating a file, could be around text to speech or speech to text. So these MCP servers can do this for you, regardless whether your LLM is doing it or you are doing it through some API. You can consume it through MCP servers. So what happens is, when you have a MCP host, it's connected to a LLM, like could be Olama, could be OpenAI, could be Claude, whatever model you're looking for. MCP host's responsibility is to connect with the MCP servers. MCP servers will have a schema which says that what can an LLM do today, and it returns it back to the MCP host or the MCP client. MCP client, what it does, it makes these services discoverable to your LLMs, whatever LLMs you're using with. So say I write that show me the top 10 developers in Bangalore or top 10 React.js developer. It's going to make sure that the LLM knows that it can do something. It has a protocol which is fine-tuned for LLM to be utilizing it, and it can be debugged, it can be troubleshooted, it can be scaled up to infinity or whatever you want to do. So this is the job of the MCP client. Now what you have is the MCP server, which is doing its own particular task. With previous solution, what we used to do, agentic solutions we used to build, there was something we used to write a system prompt, ki bhai, return me this JSON output. Sorry for the shenanigans. So what it used to do is, you were used to do is hack around creating some JSON output, return some output that will be again passed on to some function or something to do the task. Here the protocol is built to do that particular function, whether it's querying your data, whether it's calling an API, could be anything which can be done digitally, which is consumable via an API, can be done through MCP servers. You can write it, you can download it, install it, whatever you want to do. Then you have the data which is sitting at the right side, which could be your Postgres database, it could be your Redis, it could be Neo4j, it could be any REST API which you want to consume, could be a payment gateway, whatever you want to do, it can be done by the MCP server. It can be, the MCP server can retrieve, it's like a retriever. If you want to see like a RAG, you have the retriever, even RAG can be added to your MCP. So whatever, when you write a query that return or like tell me who are the top 10 React.js developer in Bangalore, the MCP client will ask the LLM to, with the service that are available, it will make aware about it, and it's going to write a query which will pass through the MCP server. The MCP server will write the query and it's going to relay back to the MCP client, to the LLM. Output will be sent back to the LLM. Now the LLM will decide how to output it. Either it can enhance the structure of the output and display it in tabular format, or it could be text or whatever you're looking at. With Cloud Desktop, it can also present it with charts, the data. So, cool. So any doubts still here? So basically, MCP client is gonna ask your LLM to make a query, which is understandable by the MCP server. MCP server is going to execute that in its own format, which is in code, proper code. And then the data will be sent back to the LLM by the MCP client. And then the LLM is gonna decide whatever it wants to do with it based on the prompt you give it to, right? And the best part about this setup is that it's contextual. There's context in all the inputs that you give after your previous prompt. So you can work around with your data and get to the result you're looking for. And there is a chain of thought also in that. So when you use a chain of thought model, it can look at the mistakes it made and it can rectify it on the fly. Error correction is done by the LLM. So this is the power of MCP, guys. Show you a couple of more things around it. So how to get started with Neo4j and MCP? You just need to find Neo4j MCP. This is going to be the first result. Then you see that there are like multiple options available. You have MCP Neo4j Cypher. Then you have MCP Neo4j memory. And there's MCP JSON memory. I recommend to get started with Neo4j Cypher, because this is the easiest way to get started, get your hands dirty with Neo4j, because this is the most straightforward solution. All it does is lets your LLM talk with Neo4j, the first solution. So if you have pip installed or you have UV installed, UVX. How many people know about UV? UV package manager in Python? Couple of people, okay, good. So there's a package manager in for Python, new package manager, it's called UVX. It lets you run Python packages on the fly without installing them. It will take care of installing the dependencies. So make sure you have the UVX package on your system. There's a like installation guide is there. It's like a just one-liner command to get UVX in there. And then Another thing you are going to need is an MCP host. So I showed you previously that you need an MCP host to facilitate with the input and output process, right? So MCP host could be something which you can build in Python, Node.js, whatever you like to do. There's like instructions available to build that from scratch. Or you could use a ready-made MCP host like Cloud Desktop. So Cloud Desktop is one of the MCP provider where you can list your MCP servers. All you need to do is install Cloud Desktop. You will go to the settings, system settings. Oh, not system settings, pardon me. You're gonna go to the developer. Then you have a edit config button. So once you click it, it's going to show you which file it is. There's a config file available. You're gonna drop it inside your VS Code. And here you're gonna make the MCP servers discoverable. So if you look at this file, there's like a list of, there's an array of MCP servers which you can let your Cloud Desktop know about, or your host know about, LLM know about. Then you show it what is a command to run that particular file, which I showed you. It could be Python program, it could be a Node.js program, it could be anything, could be any command on your system, on your operating system, which you can run with your terminal, right? So this is the MCP server which you will be mentioning in the command. So we start with the UVX, which is going to help us with running the Python file or the Python package straight away without installing it. Without you having to install it. So MCP Neo4j Cypher, which we mentioned, is there. Then you have the database credential. Now Neo4j gives you a sample database to work with. It has some movie recommendations in it. It's all about a list of movies that were directed, which are produced by multiple producers. Then you have the actors in it. So you can connect to the database and check it out. What I'm gonna do is, I don't know anything about the database right now. I honestly don't know what is available in the database, what's the schema of it, what's the ontology of it. But I'm gonna be connecting to that, and I'll ask Cloud Desktop to help me understand what is there in the database for the first time. So here, after saving the config file, I can see in the Cloud Desktop there's one MCP available with SXP MCP, which was named by me, and you can see it is running right now. So after you save it, you need to restart your Cloud Desktop for the service to be discoverable. Okay. And we're going to ask a very simple question. You can choose any model which you like from the list of the options available. And I'm going to ask, can you explain me what is there in the database, or what can I do with it? So there's a beauty in MCP. Whenever you're using Cloud Desktop, you need to give consent to Cloud Desktop to execute whatever is coming from the LLM on the MCP servers. So here you have two options available: allow for this chat or allowance. You can before executing any command, right? Maybe you can say select star from whatever table and then delete. The classic SQL delete command, or drop a database, right? So your LLM could act funny if it's coming from CCP DeepSeek, right? Could do anything, you never know. So for that, Cloud Desktop asks for the consent. Do you want to execute the query or not? So you click on this, and it's going to show you what's happening here, and then you can allow or you can deny it. So I'm going to allow it once, and let's see what happens. One thing I found out throughout this journey, I spent around 2 days to learn about MCP. This was my first time exploring MCP. So I found out that Cloud Desktop is painfully slow when it comes to doing something like this. And I'm going to show you one of the simplest and bare bones sample, which is or bare bones way of running MCP, which is going to make your life really easier. It can be customized to the last bit, and you can build good solutions with that and host it in your own premise. It's asking too many times because it's not my database. I'm just gonna allow it for this chat. It's not my database. Let it do whatever it wants to. Anyway, it's ephemeral. So it gave me the entire answer, what is available inside the database without me writing any query. I just explained it in simple language. You can even write it in Kannada. You can write it in whatever language you want. And it's going to run queries against it in the language that the database understand. Could be SQL, could be anything, could be Cypher. So Neo4j is running on Cypher. It has a different language that is similar to SQL. And you can also see and you can learn from the MCP what type of queries it's running behind the scene. So you can see that there's the Cypher queries straight away available, which you can go to the console and execute it yourself if you want to save it or it's useful to you. With Neo4j MCP, you can sit with it and you can learn about the entire database. I guess within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have a good grasp of what it can do, what it cannot do. Let us ask one question to the database about which is the highest rated movie in the database. Let's ask that question. And the beauty is you can see the queries happening in real time. There's no shady thing going on behind the scenes you know nothing about. Everything is in front of you. You can choose to keep it silent or you can choose to be always be shown. Consent is asked, you want to execute it or not. So I got the result. Let me ask for a more structured output. Show me top 10 movies in the tabular format. And you can see all the data is straight in front of your own eyes. No hallucination, no open source data, no web crawling. All the data is coming directly from the source of truth. All right, that's it. Any question about this? Okay, go ahead. So there are multiple methods available before even MCP LLM. Neo4j has integrations where you can bring data from your Postgres, MySQL. Connectors are available to facilitate migration from your old database to the new database. You need to help it with forming relationships inside the database, how the data is related. Like you have foreign keys. In Neo4j, as it's a graph database, there is no foreign key relation, all of that. You can have multiple or endless connections from one entity to another entity. Could be movie to actor, actor to producer, or movie to producer, right? So you can traverse those connections the way you want it. It's bidirectional. And you can do aggregates on the relation. You can do some on the relation. You can there's like graph data science tools available to find out more insights from your data. So you should be exploring that. Okay, so how I would do it? That was a mentor's that was the aam zindagi. Okay, doing it manually was the aam zindagi. So what I would do is I would get the schema, like previously before MCP, I would get the schema from all the database, list the schema or copy it and paste it inside my LLM, put it in the projects, beg the LLM to convert it into Neo4j schema. So that was the aam zindagi. In mentor zindagi, all I will do is just install the MCP server or whatever database I have, Neo4j also, and I'm just gonna ask one question, help me migrate my old data into the Neo4j, and it's going to give you end-to-end the whole solution. It's gonna do the error correction, it's gonna create the entire plan, and heck, if you want it, it's going to also execute it.
Okay, thank you. And one more question is like, when we use the MCP servers on the other Postgres, Neo4j and all, is there any like performance or benchmark you see there is a difference?
So MCP servers are just running programs for you. So if you have Neo4j program written in Python to just talk with your Neo4j database, so it's gonna be the same. Now the speed of how fast you get the output or how fast the query is running depends on the LLM, the speed of the LLM, the latency that's there from your query to getting the tokens back, right? So that is the crux behind the performance. And another thing is that although MCP now has grown limbs, right? It has limbs, it has the legs to walk right now, it can run also. Still, there is something, issue with LLM which will take some time to get through, and that is the context window. One thing, while using MCP while RAG, LLM is going to still suffer from the same problem. So whatever conversation we have till now, it's being sent to the LLM, and that is like one challenge which we are solving at the current moment. So there is solution like Na10 to with MCP to tackle with this problem, help with the context window, create more MCP agents. Okay, so right now a single MCP agent is doing the entire task. What if you distribute the task amongst other LLMs to help with dividing the task, to divide and conquer? Because when you put it on one LLM, the context window is limited. It's still going to be limited, and you're going to run out of tokens. So the past 2 days, my wallet has not been feeling very secure. It's like right now it's screaming that bhai bas kar de, do not use it. So if I pull up my Claude right now, you're gonna see like I'm gonna go bankrupt in couple of days if I keep using Claude. I just like the base tier. This doesn't make any sense to me, this cost. But it's really good, it's really addictive. So what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of weeks is going to port everything to OLlama or Llama model local LLM and fine tune it with Neo4j knowledge and other database knowledge, documentation and everything. So it's going to be a very lightweight and crisp model which might be running on Grok or could be running on my own CPU. Just gonna spin it up one with Docker and enjoy the benefits via LM Studio if I have to play around it. So, any further? Okay.
Yes, Abhishek, I have a question.
All right. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds pretty cool. Thanks for going into the details. I'm definitely going to try this out. But why you chose Neo4j? Because you're recruiting, that sounds like a traditional SQL DB with tables and columns. So why you chose Neo4j?
So we chose Neo4j. That's a proprietary trade secret. Should I reveal it, guys? My
How
font.
much ever you can reveal.
No, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. So what happens with Neo4j is that there is unlimited relationships. I can traverse the data any way I want it. If you go with a traditional SQL approach, the way to scale it is like very difficult. You need to have multiple tables to store the relationships separately. Because your Neo4j is a multi-dimensional database. It's just like your brain. In your brain, you do not have columns and tables, right? Whenever you're looking for an information, your brain has neurons. The neurons are going to retrieve the details and send it back to you, right? Processing, everything happens in the neurons. Same way, Neo4j is also multi-dimensional. They are like neurons. We call it the nodes and the edges, where you store additional data. And that's what gives us the speed. That's what gives us the accuracy that we are looking for. And it takes a lot less time to query any data. I can query any data. I can get any aggregates based on whatever is there inside our database.
Sounds great. Does Neo4j also support time series data?
Time series, yeah, why not? You can have time series. You can store the timestamp and get something out of it. But Neo4j on its own, it's not going to work out for you if you use it as a primary database. Definitely, you need other database to support whatever you're looking for, because it's a NoSQL database at the end of the day, and you're gonna suffer from the problems that exist in NoSQL databases.
Got it. Last question on the cost.
Yeah.
I'm doing something similar, but with PostgreSQL, and cost is definitely a factor. Is it because of too many interactions between LLM and Neo4j? Is that what is causing the cost, or the number of tokens in and out?
Tokens is the biggest cost.
Yeah, that's with like single interaction with LLM, or is it because multiple interactions with LLM before it identifies the query?
So the more you're gonna talk within the same window, right? Within this chat window, the more you're gonna conversate with it, the more it's gonna consume token per request, and it's gonna bleed your wallet dry. So that's the issue that's like currently being tackled right now. And I and my friends Ravi, Ajit, we are all bunch of hackers looking to tackle this. Maybe we'll come up with a good solution very soon. Uh, so yeah, this is the final thing I'm gonna end with this, so that we know what's the takeaway of today's talk, right?
Hi, Abhishek. I have a question here. Here.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, you showed one example wherein you took the movie database and it was able to answer the queries, right?
Yes.
Now, if I take a enterprise database, like say for example, I am feeding in something in Neo4j for my company, okay? Now, how important it is to have descriptive field names so that you get the usage of LLMs out of it?
Could you come back when your voice is not audible?
How important it is to have descriptive field names so that you can make use of LLMs, whatever queries you're
Definitely.
asking here.
So to have a good experience with Neo4j, without LLM or with LLM, ontology is very important. Without a clear ontology in your database, there's nothing you can do. Even your humans cannot figure out what's happening at the end of the day until you document it. So the better your ontology is, the efficient it will be for your LLM to get to the data. Or at least you need to have additional hints in your MCP protocol. You can create additional MCP protocols to run that particular query inside your database. You can just write it on your own and have it inside your inside the context for the LLM to pick up, right? So ontology matters a lot here. The labeling, the structure of the what data you are storing. There are lots of foot guns when it comes to having that ontology. So MCP is going to help you a lot with that. It's going to help you optimize it. You can run benchmarks. Because it's running it directly against the database, even benchmark result will be returned by that. How many seconds it took to churn the query, right? Yeah.
Hi. You will mention about alternative of plot desktop. Can you answer that?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We cannot finish. I'll just finish the quadrant. And do we have enough time? Are you guys liking it? Awesome. Can I get a cheers? Neo4j. Everyone say Neo4j. Neo4j. Good. Awesome. So I'll be just completing with this. Again, your LLM sitting at the center. The context can expand as much you want to, right? At the end of the day, it's gonna sit at the center. It's gonna be far from the integration. It's gonna also lose some of the context, right? With RAG, we went little beyond that by giving it some more context. So RAG was helping us with the channel, how to fit more context, how to fit the like what to retrieve, right? So retrieval got fixed with RAG. Then you have MCP, the big boy in the town, to help your LLM do more than RAG, right? Now let's talk about what happens when you have LLM with RAG. With LLM and RAG, you have an actual intern, a data science intern or a data engineer at your fingertips to help you out with solving data problems. Why? Because when you have the capability of RAG, there is extra consciousness or some context available ready for the LLM to make the queries more efficient. So that's the magic you're going to unlock when you combine these two tech. And we are working on it right now as we speak. So the grass is not greener on the other side. It's only green when you have these two solutions working together. Some people will say, I want to do RAG. Some people will say, I want to do MCP. So for both of them, after working for some time, the grass is going to be greener on the other side. With both, you have a green field with you, right? So let us look at the last. Yeah.
Tools. How MCP is different than that?
MCP is going to even, in fact, enhance your lang chain. because LangChain is coming up with MCP workflows for you to have a much more better integration. So it's going to complement that. Yeah, but what used to happen is that with LangChain, I mean, things were not ambiguous. Things were like pre-planned, pre-structured, right? Your LLM couldn't do much. Now your LLM can pull the schema. So if you have a data source like Neo4j, it can pull the live data schema out of it. It can work on it. It can fix the error, rectify the error, and then get you the query. In MCP, you specify the protocol. And the beauty about MCP is that you can choose to disable read or write on the database. So if you don't want your MCP to be doing any writes to your database, only read, you can just choose to disable the MCP altogether, that particular MCP. And it's not going to have any hands to your database to make any write changes, because the protocol is clearly defined in code. There is no attack that can happen, there's no injection that can happen that will cause your database to go bust, right? So that's the beauty about specifying your own MCP server. You can customize it, you can fine tune it. And with databases like Neo4j or Postgres, the user of the database who is making the query, you can add role-based access to that, so they can do only particular functions inside the database. Because they're directly, I mean, the MCP server is directly making the queries from the what's given by the LLM. So you can lock it down to particular nodes, particular columns, or whatever you have, right? Any other doubts? Yeah, why not? You can use MCP to write. So if you have lots of blocks sitting in your markdown files in your file system, you can use MCP to retrieve those data with RAG. You can do some RAG with it, and you can create a new summarized article out of it. Your research data, whatever. Yeah, you can ask question on your local file system data. And you can do on multiple different types of file. Could be a video file, could be an audio file. For each of them, you're going to create MCP. And the MCPs will be doing those tasks of retrieving the data back to the LLM. Right? Cool, we'll move with one last question, right?
Yeah, in database, sensitive information also there. If you are exposing to LLM, then what about security?
Security is going to be completely scope based. So what I'm looking to do is create a user with limited access to the data using role based access. So I ensure it from the source, from the user, database user, native user in the database, that it can do only particular function. It can only have access to particular nodes, particular columns, particular rows. So the way you create a user in Postgres with row level protection, right? So you can do the same legacy thing, how you do it with a human. It's not much different than a human querying your database right now. So same mechanisms can apply to that to protect your data. From Cloud9. Absolutely, it is. Cool. Awesome. Let's look at the one of the much better solution. So Claude, I said, one, it is slow. Another, there is a limit. Rate limit is really bad inside the Claude desktop because it's the usual subscription you get for $20. What if I want more powerful? I want to select my own models. I want more powerful approach, more tokens, right? At that point, you want to be using the Anthropic's API key to be carrying out these MCP queries. And the best way to utilize that is not inside the Claude desktop, not via terminal, but there's a good project called Chainlit. So Chainlit is an open source project which lets you to create chat interfaces for your LLM agent, whatever you have it. And they now support MCP. There's like a couple of weeks old, the MCP, or I guess 1 or 2 months old, I guess. Cool. So Chainlit has this package to help you create the user interface for interacting with your LLM. They also have introduced this MCP server feature to help you, help your LLM discover the MCP servers that you define. Everything is configuration based. There's like TOML files available to configure your entire Chainlit experience down to the last bit. And you can connect to any MCP, could be which are running locally. So at the current moment, MCPs only run on your local system, wherever the host is sitting, right? Wherever the host is running, the MCP host could be Chainlit, could be Cloud Desktop. It's going to run terminal, like you run commands on your terminal, right? It's going to be running the same commands which you specify here. It could be like RMRF root directory, or it could be any NPM package, any Python program, any Java program, whatever you want. So command is going to be here, inserted here, like you create in Jenkins also sometimes for your CI/CD flows. Then you can name what is the MCP server name. There are like two different types of MCP service which you can register here. One is a SSE, server sent events, and another is an standard input output. So you have two different types which are available. Make sure to explore them. I created today's demo on this only. As you can see, we have it here. I can do pretty fun stuff. One of which could be, I hope my internet is not dead. Cool. So I just want, I want to hire top 10 React.js developer, or maybe say I'm feeling curious, I want to ask list top 10 users, so top candidates. This question, used to, keep me curious when I was more, when I was more younger. So here we go, sourcing with natural language. No fuss, no hallucination, nothing. All data is coming from the candidates. So that's it, guys. If you want to get set hired, do scan this QR code and we'll connect. All right. Time's up. Find me on LinkedIn. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here in today's talk. This was my first at AI DevCon. Thank you to E5. Thank you to Neo4j. Thank you to Siddhan for extending this opportunity to share my learnings here. And looking forward to seeing you in the next one. And before I end this, I also do Neo4j meetups, GraphDB Bangalore meetups here. So do join us for GraphDB Bangalore meetup events. You can type on Google, GraphDB Bangalore on your meetup app. We hold regular events on MCP, GenAI, Neo4j, Graphs. It's really interesting. The talks are really interesting. And we have a great new event coming up in April. We just got done with our March meetups. So we have another meetup coming up. And I'll be showing you my journey from zero to production with Graphs. Mark your calendar for 26th and hoping to see you all in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.